Hello, Stephanie Zima here, My Way of Life Coaching. And today I want to talk to you about what to do if you're feeling like an imposter. So if you're new to me, I help online entrepreneurs, network marketers, social sellers, people in real estate, people in insurances, anyone who sells anything online to develop a mindset mastery and emotional resiliency so that you can tackle any obstacle that gets in your way. Okay. And we all know building a business online is not for the faint of heart. You need to have some mindset mastery. Your thoughts need to be in check and control. Your emotions need to be able to be resilient. You have to be able to deal with objections, and you have to be able to deal with rejection, and cannot be emotionally triggered at all times. So having said that, what should we do if we feel like an imposter? And I want to tell you a quick story. When I first started to be a stay-at-home mom, I actually felt like an imposter on that arena. In that arena, I was like, I don't know what to do as a stay-at-home mom. I have no idea who I even am. I came from a career. I had my professional like identity, so to speak, but becoming a stay-at-home mom was really different for me. So I felt like an imposter then. And now that I had re-entered the workforce again, back into logistics, like almost 14 years later, I ended up feeling like an imposter. And in between, I felt like an imposter. And what I want to say here is that it's really quite normal to feel like an imposter because you do not have the identity, right? You do not know how and what you are going to be like in this new environment that you're getting yourself into. So that means if you're a network marketer and you are an imposter, or you feel like an imposter when it comes to sales, it's simply not because there's something wrong with you. It simply is because you are new to sales. So that means you have to learn these sales skills. You have to learn how to prospect somebody, how to find the leads, how to build a brand and do marketing. You have to find out how to deal with this emotionally, how you are managing your time between, they always say, oh, work from home, it's going to be so much fun doing all the things in the nooks and crannies of your day. And then here you are trying to hustle your children and trying to deal with the dogs and trying to figure out, like, oh my gosh, I'm on the phone with my boss, like, or with the prospect, and let's just make sure the dogs are not barking. And no one ever talks about the amount of stress it actually puts on a person to be working from home and to have clarity in your thoughts, in your actions, in your output. Not even to talk about the amount of data that comes into our brains from social media and emails and schools and all this mental load that we are dealing with on a non-stop basis. This is requiring you to have skill sets that nobody probably taught you yet. You feel like an imposter because you haven't been taught how to deal with this amount of information, how to manage it all. And so you adapt this belief that you're just not good at it. Okay. But that's not the truth. You are good at it because you can learn, right? That's the belief that you need to start adapting for yourself, that you can learn anything. So if you're struggling in marketing, if you're struggling in posting, if you don't know what to say online, how to portray yourself, how to speak with people, right? Or what to put out there about yourself, because of course we don't want to put everything out there. This is not this is not a place to have your virtual diary. This is a place for you to strategically, and I'm not saying fake, but I'm saying strategically post about things that you want your audience to connect with, right? So I want my audience to take my energy. I want my audience to see that there is stuff to learn, right? Because I remember when I first started in this industry, I was so high with dedication and so high with drive and motivation. And then I hit this wall of like, wait a minute. Oh, is not as easy as everybody else is going to say. It's not easy to convert and find cold prospects. It's not easy to build a brand when nobody gives a crap about you, right? Nobody wants to know who you are because you've got nothing to offer. These thoughts, these thoughts mess with your brain so much, so much. And all over the place, we're being bombarded with, let me show you how to make $10,000. Let me show you how to do this. Let me show you how to do that. So what does that do when you see all these ads all over the place, sponsored, you see that all the time. The moment you open up your Instagram, the moment you open up your Facebook, you see these things. What does it do to you? I'm telling you what it does to you because I lived it. It lets you know you are not good enough. If you then look at your follower account and you have like 1,500 people, and some of them are even leaving the moment you open your mouth, now you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I must be no good. But that is not the case, okay? The case is you need to align, you need to get clear. It doesn't matter how many followers you have in order to make money. You do not need to have a followers account. Yes, is it helpful to build your credibility? Of course. Like when I look at an account with like multiple thousands followers, I'm instantly thinking, oh, they must be credible, right? I'm thinking, okay, they must be knowing what they're doing. And then often I look at their account and I'm looking at that what they say and I'm like, nah, that doesn't resonate with me, and I move on. But then, if there's somebody with a lesser account that resonates with me, with my language, with my energy, with the things that I want to learn, well, then I don't personally care about the followers count. I am going over there because they can help me. And this is what your audience ultimately decides, right? They don't decide, they don't care how many followers you have because that's about you. That's only your gatekeeper, right? You're like your instant, like, oh, wait a minute, am I going to listen for a second or not? But you can also get that through a good hook. You can get that through being personable and reaching out to people. You can get and gather their attention through what I call the action marketing. But what I'm saying here is when you are feeling like an imposter, it has nothing to do with you specifically. It has something to do with you not being familiar in the territory that you're in right now. So if it's posting and marketing, maybe you don't know enough about marketing. Maybe you don't know enough yet about how to actually guard your energy. See, this is one of my problems. How to guard my energy, how to time block eventually so that I can do activities to warm up algorithms before I post, before I do things. Like there is timing involved with it, right? There's activity, actions to involve with this. And yes, some of you younger people, you may know this. You may do this naturally because this is how you grew up. But people like me, people in their 50s, people in their 40s and older, like we don't necessarily know these things, nor do we have the time because we also have full-time jobs or we have children or we have other things that are pressing. However, there's still ways for you to actually succeed. There's ways for you to make money. And what I want to make sure is that you don't let an excuse of an imposter feeling keep you stuck, okay? And keep you from taking the actions that you can take. Can you build millions of followers right now? You don't maybe need that. You may not even need that. You may not even want that because maybe you just need your 10 people to buy your products. Maybe you need your 10 people to close a house. Maybe you need your 10 to 15 people to buy life insurance from you. Maybe you just literally need those 10 sales to make a life-changing difference and pay off that credit card that you want to pay off. You don't need millions of followers for that. See, this is where I feel like the lines got so blurred. The lines of what it is that we are really here to do with social media got really blurred. Out of the sudden, everybody is trying to be an influencer. Everybody is trying to do stuff that they are really not good at. And what it does though is it's keeping you from doing the things that you're really good at, from teaching, from educating, from showing products, from having and inviting people to an event that you might want to host, or a sip and see party that you might want to do, or educating somebody about non-toxic living, right? I mean, there's so many of you here that are in my circle that are having some kind of a non-toxic product. Let's say it's a shampoo, or let's say it's a wellness box, or something non-toxic. It's such a big thing to do. It is such a big thing. Think about it. So many of the people need to have less toxic environment, and you are still trying to worry about your followers, when in fact you should talk to everybody you know and find online about, hey, do you take non-toxic supplements, or do you take how do you clean your house? Do you clean your house with non-toxic cleaners? If not, do you know the impact plastic has on a person's system? Hey, I'm just curious. Have you ever looked into X, Y, and Z, right? Start conversations, guys. That is so much more important. And see, this is where imposter meets self-confidence. You got to root yourself back into who you are, what you know, because you know your products. You know why you're good at it. You know why you do what you do, right? You do. You know, you fell in love with it. So don't get insecure thinking you need to do all these other things when you don't. All you need to do is you need to find a warm body to talk to. You need to talk to that warm body. And then you need to ask the question whether or not they are interested in what it is that you're doing. Are they like-minded, or are they not like-minded? If they're not, find the next warm body. Okay. And does it mean to kind of like lie and do things that maybe are not you? No. Get clear on who you are. Get clear on what you're wanting to do, what your purpose is. Why are you believing in, I'm using this example of non-toxicity. Why are you believing in that? What is your story? Talk about your story online. Tell people what it is that you got started with. Why did you do this? See, everybody knows my walk it free story, hopefully. Okay, if you don't know, let me tell you my walk it free story. The reason why I'm so passionate about mental mindset mastery and emotional resilience is I saw my mother die of cancer. Okay, I saw her die, and she had so many regrets. And part of the reason why she had so many regrets was because she was too scared to take action on the things she wanted to do, on the things that could have possibly kept her from having cancer if she would have not been miserable so long in her life, right? If she would have just had a little bit more courage, a little bit more confidence, she could have done other things that could maybe have given her more peace and more life, right? I personally am somebody that believes that your mental mindset has some kind of effect on how your body reacts. If you're holding on to grudges, if you're holding on to pain, if you're holding on to depression and anxiety, it does something in your cells and in your body. And I do believe that cancer could possibly be triggered by that pain, that emotional pain that people are holding on to. That is my personal belief. So what did I do? I created the Walk It Free program. I created it for people to have options, for people to brave through the uncomfortable, through, the fear, through the like the mess, right? The messy middle of not knowing what to do and how to do things. That is who I am. This is what made me so passionate, this Walk It Free movement of building these small little support circles everywhere of a healed person, a connected person, a purposeful person that then takes other people and lends a hand and says, hey, come on, I've done this, you can do this too. Encourage others, supporting others, right? These support circles, Walk It Free. This is what I want, because we need more people to be able to reach out and help other people. Okay, but broken people don't help broken people, right? Broken people just steer the pot even more. But healed people, healthy people, happy people, those people are going to reach down and help other people also to come up and rise up. And that is what the Rocket Free is all about, right? And what do we need? We need money in order to do certain things. We need money to pay our bills. We need money to have time to connect with people, right? We need money to do these things. If you're just stuck at work all day long, 9 to 5, and then, you are working overtime because now you have to pay your credit card bill, and next thing you know, you don't have any time with your kids, and your kids are being alone. And this is the opposite of what I want, right? That's why I'm talking to online entrepreneurs, to people that are wanting to go after more. That is who I'm talking to. I want to talk to people that want more in their life, and they need mindset mastery. They need to be in control of their thoughts. They need to be in control of their feelings, and be able to take action. Okay, without action, we're not making money. If you're not reaching out, you're not getting anything. If you are not helping people, you are not being talked about. If you're not creating content, nobody's going to know you. You can be the best pizza shop. If nobody knows you, no one is going to come and buy. Okay, so you need to have marketing skills. You need to have sales skills. You need to overcome that feeling of imposter, because without being in an environment where you got to learn and grow, you are not coming from this uncomfortable, right? I mean, they all say your growth is, or your success is on the other side of your comfort zone. And what does that require you to do to get to the other side? Is you got to first know what side you're even on, and then what is in this messy middle. What gap is, what raptors are going to come at us, right? I mean, it's kind of like, what kind of dinosaurs do we deal with? Are we dealing with the bronchosaurus? Are we dealing with the velociraptor? Like, what are we dealing with that is coming at us and picking at the fences of our boundaries? Like, what are we dealing with, and how do we have to duck? Do we have to punch? What do we do, right? We need to know these things. Of course, you will feel insecure in any area of this life. Can you imagine the Super Mario game? Okay, and in a Super Mario game, to level up, you also have to do different challenges. That's how your life is. Of course, you're going to feel like an imposter if you're coming onto a new level and you don't even know what to do, right? Of course. But here's the thing. If you embrace that and you say, what resources could I use? What people know what I need to know? Where do I find these people, and how do I plug myself in? Then you are going to be able to overcome all of these obstacles. And that's the name of the game. You got to heal yourself from all your victim mentality. You got to heal yourself from your negative thoughts, your imposter feelings, your self-sabotage, all the things that are holding you back from finding solutions. And then you got to connect. Who am I going to be? What do I want in my life? Who can I help? How can I help them? You've got to get clear on these aspects. What is the way to do this? Once you have a system, once you know how to do it, once you have your brand and you really have a strategy, now comes the next part, the leveling up part. And that's where the devils are going to be. That's where the monsters, the raptors is going to be, because you start realizing, oh, wait a minute, this part was really not that healed. Okay, I might have to go back and heal that a little bit more. Oh, wait a minute, that habit is kind of out of line. That really doesn't match with what my big intensity is going to be. See, we have these big goals. We want to, let's say, become a millionaire, right? But are we willing to do the work a millionaire does? Are we willing to live the lifestyle a millionaire does? Do you even know what a millionaire does? Okay, every single day. See, that is where the disconnect is. Like, this is where your imposter is coming from, because yeah, you have the desire to have a lot of money. Yes, you have the desire to want to be the top on your company. Yes, you have the desire to be the top on the leaderboard. But do you really, 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 really want to know? And do you really want to do the things that you need to do to get there? Do you know what you need to do to get there? That's the key, you guys. Okay, so for example, I saw somewhere, I think it was Ray Higdon, who was talking about how many calls he had to do in order to get to the 2% of a salesperson. And I thought to myself, I'm like, wait a minute, that is a lot of calls in a day. That's like a minute, a call a minute. Would I be willing to do that? Would I be willing to cold call every minute a person? I don't think I would. I don't think I would. I'm not going to be lying. I don't think I would. I think I'd rather find a different way to make something happen. Okay. And this is where the walk it free part comes in. You've got to get to know yourself. You got to know what is it that you would have to do. And then you got to find your way. Okay. My company is called My Way of Life because this is what I'm standing for. My way of life. You got to find your way of life. I am helping you to find your way of life in my mentorship, in my coaching programs, right? That's what it is, because you will never do something you don't believe in. You will never go and actually work on something that you don't think is going to happen. So that's it. I got to go. I think this was enough nuggets for today. Drop it in the comments what your takeaways are. I would love to know. And also, if you are new to me, say hi. If you're watching this on a replay, say hi. Connect with me, talk to me, send me messages. Let me know what you're thinking, what your thoughts are, what you're struggling with. I would love to address it in one of my live videos or in my reels. Yeah, hope to connect with y'all soon.